So this video is going to be about the ENFJ and INFP relationship, which is a relationship between two types who are known as the protagonist and the romantic. The protagonist, or the ENFJ, is also known as the giver, the mentor, the healer, the teacher, and the actor. And the INFP is also known, other than being known as the romantic, they're also known as the healer, mediator, dreamer, lyricist. Just to explain why those are the names though. So the ENFJ, if you think of any superhero from any movie, any protagonist basically from a movie that you can see doing really good deeds, being really noble and dignified, exhibiting traits like selflessness, determination, and integrity. That's basically what the ENFJ is like in real life. The INFP is quite, I won't say the opposite, but they definitely are the complement to the ENFJ. They are more reserved. They are very don't look at me types, but very good listeners, very idealistic, compassionate. So what I'll start, yes, INFPs are also often victims of narcissistic abuse. So probably or likely to have come from adverse childhood environments. In a worst case scenario, they'd be, say, the scapegoat of the family, being fed on for attention and admiration by the narcissist, which is probably their father or mother. Okay, so the initial stages of the relationship. In real life, the ENFJ and INFP are unlikely to really cross paths because the INFP can be a bit of a recluse. The ENFJ can also be. They are apparently one of the more introverted extroverts. And they're also just not very common, the INFP and the ENFJ. So if they do happen to meet each other, what will happen is that because the INFP has a sort of problem where they attract, they're like a narcissist magnet, so they really attract people who aren't good for them. And likewise, the INFP is also attracted to those kinds of toxic personalities. So in meeting the ENFJ, who is really not like anyone the INFP is used to interacting with, there will be a bit of it'll be really new to them. So might be disconcerting for the INFP because for the first time they may be encouraged to express themselves and really be able to communicate with someone without being pushed down as they usually are. The ENFJ is also very perceptive and receptive to the INFP's feelings. The INFP doesn't have to say much for the ENFJ to know what they're thinking, because ENFJs are masters of social perception. They're people. So so like technically speaking, what they do to do that is they use their FE dominant FE cognitive function to gather information about people's feelings and thoughts, and their secondary or auxiliary cognitive function to synthesize all that data into intuitions about people. So they're really attuned to the motives of people. Um, yeah, so once you go a bit further into the courting phase, uh, the INFP will basically be met with the romantic rhetoric of the ENFJ. Um, Again, the overwhelming positivity um, will be quite new. Unconditional positive regard, as Carl Rogers puts it, or which is basically unconditional love. INFPs don't quite like just by the nature of the INFP, you can tell that they don't really know what love is, and it takes the ENFJ, who's usually a type 2, likely to be a type 2 on the Enneagram. Um, they could be a type 3 as well. It takes the ENFJ to introduce them to what what a loving relationship really looks like, without all the gaslighting, manipulation, the abuse tactics, the condescension. Um, so another issue, yeah, this is all over the place, but it's kind of how um, the format of this video. I didn't really plan it out very systematically. So um, the INFP may also fall into the trap of thinking that the ENFJ is being inauthentic when they're, um, being as romantic as they are and being really um, upfront with their feelings. Um, so a bit of a logical fallacy operating here is that the INFP, um, they think that just because the INF that their that they can't express their true authentic feelings, that other people can't either, and that if they're expressing them, they must not be true. Which isn't. It's just that the ENFJ is more vocal, and it's important that they are. The fact that they're adept at communication is what makes the relationship work. So, and that is why the relationship is ideal. It's the ideal pairing, in MBT, according to MBTI theory, right? So, um, other things, ENFJs aren't too good at math. The INFP is probably better at math than them. That's like a random thing, but um, um, the ENFJ views the INFP's feelings as beautiful. Um, just looking at the ENFJ's functions, since they don't have that FI in their full function stack, um, just based on that, that's how they would see the INFP. They're givers. Their primary they honestly derive pleasure from helping others. So sexually, and in everything that the ENFJ does, um, when they spend time with the INFP, anything they do, the INFP shouldn't needn't feel that they're burdening the ENFJ, since the ENFJ, that they derive pleasure from that. Um, so that's, the INFP can feel like they're, um, literally, a burden and feel really, because it'll trigger feelings of the worthlessness that's found commonly in INFPs. It'll trigger that. So I just wanted to check quickly if I was wrong about that. The most common Enneagram types for the INFP are type 4 and type 9. It looks like around maybe 66%. Oh no, less than that. Maybe 50% of INFPs may be a type 4. Oh no, yeah, 42%, and 20% are type 9s. So around half as many type 9s. And then maybe potentially 10% could be type 6. So type 4, the individualist; type 9, the peacemaker; type 6, the loyalist. Another around 9% could be type 2, the helper. For the ENFJ, what does it say? It says 60% are type 2s. So a majority would be a type 2, the helper. 12% a type 3, the achiever. And then following that, the rest, in very small numbers. So quite insignificant. The other interesting thing is that most INFPs are females, and most ENFJs are females as well. But yeah, so it can be quite interesting. I am speaking from the perspective of my relationship, which is between a type 9 INFP and a type 2 ENFJ. So it could vary the experience more, to an extent, between other couples that are ENFJ and INFP. But that's basically it. Yeah, so don't know if that would have helped, but that was some things about the ENFJ INFP relationship from my perspective. If you liked it, maybe you could subscribe. And otherwise, yeah, I think I'll make another video soon. I think so. Yeah, I will. Okay, see ya.